So why are you pro-life? And you can't just go quoting the Bible at me either. No problem. I'm pro-life because the science of embryology teaches that from the earliest stages of development, you were a distinct, living, and whole human being. And while embryology can tell us what the unborn are, we turn to philosophy to find out how we should treat them. Philosophy says there are only 4 developments, 4 distinctions between the embryo you once were and the adult that you are today. And that differences of size, level of development, environment, and degree of dependency do not fundamentally change the human value that you possess and do not justify killing you at your earlier stage of development any more than it justifies killing you today as an adult. Hey everyone, welcome back to Why Should I Read That? Today, we're jumping into The Case for Life, Equipping Christians to Engage the Culture by Scott Klusendorf. You just saw in less than 1 minute me present a case for the pro-life side of the issue of abortion in a way that does not rely only on the Bible, but draws from science and from philosophy. Places that are secular in ways that everyone can draw from those arguments. So we're going to clarify the issue of abortion, and we're going to talk about S.L.E.D, the size, level of development, environment, and degree of dependency, in the way that Scott Klusendorf presents them in this book. And we'll continue the conversation with some common objections, assumptions, and arguments in the blog. So if you want to debate me, because I can respect that, please jump to the blog, johndelang.com. We'll continue the conversation there. So we're going to jump right into it. The main syllogism to clarify the debate from all the other things that could be out there, whether it's the tough cases, whether somebody quotes Exodus 21 at you or says, boy, if the mother wants to choose, it's her body, it's her choice. What you and I need to go back to from The Case for Life, according to Scott, is a syllogism. A syllogism. So what is a syllogism? A syllogism is 2 arguments, 2 premises, and 2 premises, and then a conclusion. So premise 1, it is wrong to intentionally kill an innocent human being. Premise number 2, abortion intentionally kills an innocent human being. Conclusion, therefore, abortion is wrong. So there you have it. Our syllogism, you can't, in order to disprove the conclusion, someone needs to disprove one of the 2 premises. And that's the central issue. Is the unborn a full-fledged member of the human family, of deserving of the same rights and responsibilities, rights and protections that you and I hold dear as Americans, as members of the human family, right? So that is our question. And according to Scott, the 4 differences between the person you are today and the embryo you once were are size, level of development, environment, and degree of dependency. Let's unpack each of those in a little bit more detail. First of the 4, size. So how does one being bigger equate to more of a right to life? Think of someone like Shaq or LeBron James. Are you as tall as them? Are you as large around as them? Probably not in most cases. But just because they are larger than you does not mean they have more of a right to life than you do. Their size does not determine their humanity. The same goes for the unborn. Let's talk level of development. Can you honestly say that you're the exact same person you were 10 years ago? Probably not. Look at it this way. On the other hand, my cousin Lizzie is about 6 years old. If she's not 6, I'm definitely going to hear about this. And my mother, Lisa, is, well, I'm not going to say how old she is, but she's older than Lizzie. And just because they are vastly different in age, Lisa is much more developed. She's quite a bit more attuned to running a farm than Lizzie is. But that doesn't mean she has more of a right to life than my cousin Lizzie. And it doesn't mean it's the other way around either. Your level of development does not affect your human intrinsic value. On the third one, environment. The question of environment, people say, well, the unborn are inside the womb. Well, how does where you are determine what you are? If you got on a plane and flew from LAX to New York City, does that change who you are? I rolled over in bed last night. I went from the left side of my bed to the right side of my bed. Did that change who I am? Absolutely not. My humanness is not dependent on my location, and neither is yours. Finally, degree of dependency. How does dependence upon someone else or something else for survival diminish who you are as a person? Many people will say that the unborn, because they're dependent upon their mothers for survival, means that they are not fully human. But be careful. By this logic, someone who is dependent on insulin for survival, like my friend Ben, who is diabetic, means that because he is dependent on something else for survival, means he is less of a human than someone who is not. That is absolutely incorrect. Just because someone is dependent on something or someone else for survival has no bearing on their intrinsic value as a human. So guys, size, level of development, environment, and degree of dependency show that the unborn are the same members of the human family, and there's no philosophical difference between the embryo you once were and the person you are today. Now, there are many other arguments and questions that come up around the abortion issue, and I will try to cover as many of them as I can in the blog post, but I encourage you to go check out The Case for Life for a full comprehensive coverage of how you can respond to those arguments or to put your own mind at ease as you get into that. So thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you next week for episode 23.